love eating, and when we eat, we take in valuable nutritional substances that help our body remain healthy. This is through digesting. The process of digestion begins the moment we put food in our mouth. The food then travels down to our stomach, and all throughout this process, our body is absorbing valuable nutrients. Once our kidneys do their job of filtering, the waste is sent through the bladder and disposed through the urinary tract. It is important for the body to be clean, just like throwing garbage before it can kill you. This cleaning happens after two different processes: the digestion and the metabolizing of foods. The process of throwing the food will happen in the urinary system. Now, let's talk about the urinary system. Just like other systems, the urinary system has many different organs in order for it to work as a whole. Each organ does different functions. The urinary system consists of the two kidneys, the two ureters, the bladder, the two sphincter muscles, the nerve in the bladder, and the urethra. After your body takes what it needs from the food you eat, waste products are then left behind in the blood. The urinary system works with the lungs, skin, and intestines to keep the chemicals and water in your body balanced. The urinary system removes urea from your body. The urinary system does all the stuffs like maintain an appropriate fluid volume by regulating the amount of water that is excreted in the urine, and controls red blood cell production by secreting the hormone erythropoietin. The urinary system also plays a role in maintaining normal blood pressure by secreting the enzyme renin. The kidneys are directly involved in maintaining proper blood pressure, which is essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues and for proper filtration of blood by the kidneys themselves. Our kidneys filter blood in nephrons and secrete or reabsorb electrolytes under the direction of hormones. Like sanitation workers who keep a city's water supply drinkable and dispose of its waste, the kidneys are usually unappreciated until there is a malfunction and internal garbage piles up. Disposing of waste and excess ions is only part of the kidneys' work. As they perform these excretory functions, the kidneys also regulate blood volume and maintains the proper balance between water and salts and between acids and bases. The kidney have other regulatory functions too, like by producing the enzyme renin, they help regulate blood pressure. The hormone erythropoietin, released by the kidneys, stimulates red blood cell production in the bone marrow. Kidney cells convert vitamin D to its active form. Also, the kidney has three protective layers, from deep to superficial. First, a transparent fibrous capsule, which encloses each kidney and gives it a glistening appearance. Second, a fatty mass, the perirenal fat capsule, surrounds each kidney and cushions it against blows. Third, the renal fascia, the most superficial layer made of dense fibrous connective tissues, anchors the kidney and adrenal gland to surrounding structures. The fat surrounding the kidney is important in holding them in normal body position. If the amount of fatty tissue dwindles, the kidneys may drop to a lower position, a condition called ptosis. Ptosis creates problems if the ureters which drains urine from the kidneys become kinked. When this happens, urine that can no longer pass through the ureters backs up and exerts pressure on the kidney tissue. this condition called hydronephrosis that can severely damage the kidney. Now, moving on. Did you ever wonder where can our urine form? So there is a structural and functional unit of the kidney, and it is the nephrons, which are responsible for forming urine. Each nephron consists of two main structures, a renal corpuscle and a renal tubule. Each renal corpuscles consists of glomerulus, and this portion of the renal corpuscles is called the glomerular capsule or Bowman's capsule, while the renal tubule, which makes up the rest of the nephron and is about 3 centimeters long, they are the proximal convoluted tubule, the nephron loop or the loop of Henle, and the distal convoluted tubule. Most nephrons are called cortical nephrons because they are located almost entirely within the cortex. In a few cases, the nephrons are called juxtamedullary nephrons because they are situated close to the cortex-medulla junction, and their nephron loops deep into the medulla. Each and every nephron is associated with two capillary beds, the glomerulus and the peritubular capillary bed. The urine formation. In identifying the areas of the nephron that are responsible for filtration, reabsorption, and secretion, we also need to learn about the process of urine formation and its characteristics because the kidneys filter unwanted substances from the blood to produce urine to excrete them. There are three main steps of urine formation: glomerular filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. This process ensures that only waste and excess water are removed from the body. Glomerular filtration is a non-sensitive, passive process in which fluid passes from the blood into the glomerular capsule part of the renal tubule. Tubular reabsorption begins as soon as the filtrate enters the proximal convoluted tubule, while tubular secretion is essentially tubular reabsorption in reverse. These three major renal processes are the glomerular filtration, in which water and solutes smaller than proteins are forced through the capillary walls and pores of the glomerular capsule into the renal tubule. Tubular reabsorption. Water, glucose, amino acid, and needed ions are transported out of the filtrate into the tubule cells and then enter the capillary blood. And lastly, tubular secretion. H1, K1, creatinine, and drugs are removed from the peritubular blood and secreted by the tubule cells into the filtrate. The nitrogenous waste products, on the other hand, are purely reabsorbed, if at all. Tubule cells have few membrane carriers to reabsorb these substances because we do not need them. They tend to remain in the filtrate and are found in the high concentration in urine excreted from the body. Various ions are reabsorbed or allowed to go out in the urine according to what is needed at a particular time to maintain the proper pH and electrolyte composition of the blood. Common nitrogenous wastes include the urea, which is formed by the liver as an end product of protein breakdown when amino acids are used to produce energy; uric acid, which is released when nucleic acids are metabolized; and lastly, creatinine, associated with creatinine metabolism in muscle tissue. What is inside of our urine? Urine contains nitrogenous waste and unneeded or excess substances. Freshly voided urine is generally clear and pale to deep yellow. The normal yellow color is due to urochrome, a pigment that results from the body's destruction of hemoglobin. The more solutes are in the urine, the deeper yellow its color. Dilute urine is a pale straw color. At times, urine may be color other than yellow, and this happens as a result of eating certain foods or the presence of bile or blood in the urine. Now, let's move on to the functions of the ureters, urinary bladder, and the urethra. The ureters carry urine from the kidneys to the bladder. Urine reaches the bladder even when standing on your head because the ureters do play an active role in the urine transport. Our bladder is connected to the kidneys by two ureters. It is a hollow organ designed to store urine. The urinary bladder is a smooth, collapsible muscular sac that stores urine temporarily. It is located retroperitoneally in the pelvis, just posterior to the pubic symphysis. The bladder walls contains three layers of smooth muscle, collectively called the detrusor muscles, and its mucosa is a special type of epithelium, transitional epithelium. Both of these structural features make the bladder uniquely suited for its function of urine storage. Urethra, on the other hand, is a tube that connects the urinary bladder and the urinary meatus so that urine can be removed from the body. Urethra is different in males and females. In males, the urethra carries both semen and urine and is both part of the urinary and reproductive systems. In women, the urethra is about 3 to 4 centimeters long, and its external orifice or opening lies anterior to the vaginal opening. Its only function is to conduct urine from the bladder to the body exterior. Micturition or voiding. It is the act of emptying the bladder. When a person chooses not to void, the reflex contraction of the bladder stops within a minute or so, and urine collection continues. After 200 to 300 ml more have been collected, the micturition reflexes occurs again. Eventually, micturition occurs whether the person wills it or not. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Kidneys take the role of taking our blood composition constant. In doing this, our blood depends on three major factors: our diet, cellular metabolism, and our urine output. And it plays the role of excreting nitrogen-containing wastes, maintaining water and electrolyte balance of the blood, and ensuring proper blood pH. Now, let's all talk about the water and fluids inside our body. Fluid helps body to break down food and helps to prevent constipation by keeping stools soft and regular. Fluid is an important part of the blood and helps to carry nutrients around the body. If you are a healthy young adult, water probably accounts for half or more of your body weight, 50% in women and about 60% in men. Water is the universal body solvent within which all are dissolved. Water occupies three main locations within the body, referred to as fluid compartments. About two-thirds of the body fluid, the so-called intracellular fluid, and is contained within the living cells. The remainder, called extracellular fluid, includes all body fluids located outside the cells. Extracellular fluid includes blood plasma, interstitial fluid, lymph, the transcellular fluid, which includes cerebrospinal and serous fluid, the humors of the eye, and others. Water certainly accounts for nearly the entire volume of body fluids. which are all similar regardless of type. But there is more to fluid balance than just water. The types and amounts of solutes in body fluids, especially electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, and calcium ions, are also vitally important to overall body homeostasis. Water and electrolyte balance, though we consider them separately here, are tightly linked as the kidneys continuously process the blood. Major sources of body water and routes of water loss from the body. When intake and output are in balance, the body is adequately hydrated. And if our body remains properly hydrated, we cannot lose more water than we take in. The thirst mechanism is a driving force for water intake. An increase in plasma solute contained of only 2 to 3% excites highly sensitive cells in the hypothalamus called osmoreceptors. The mouth also becomes dry because the salivary glands obtain the water they require from the blood. The major stimulus is increased osmolarity of blood plasma, and this is the thirst mechanism for regulating water intake. And if large amount of water are lost in other ways, the kidneys are always to the rescue. It compensates by producing less urine to conserve body water. However, when water intake is excessive, the kidneys excrete generous amounts of water and urine to reduce fluid volume. Reabsorption of water and electrolytes by the kidney is regulated primarily by hormones. When blood volume drops for any reason, arterial blood pressure drops, which in turn decreases the amount of filtrate formed by the kidneys. The result is that nerve impulses are sent to the posterior pituitary, which then releases antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. And as we all know, this is the first hormone that prevents excessive water loss in the urine. When antidiuretic hormone is not released, huge amount of very dilute urine, which is up to 25 liters a day, flush from the body day after day. This condition is called diabetes insipidus, which can lead to severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalances. And the affected individual are always thirsty and have to drink fluids almost continuously to maintain normal fluid balance. That's why it is important to maintain our electrolyte balance for a very small change in the electrolyte concentrations in the various fluid compartment causes water to move from one compartment to another. That's why we also have called the aldosterone, the second hormone that helps to regulate blood consumption and blood volume by acting on the kidney. Acids are proton donors, and the acidity of solution reflects on the free hydrogen ions, not those still bound to anions. Strong acids such as hydrochloric acid or HCl dissociate completely and liberate all their hydrogen ions in water. We are now done exploring and knowing the anatomy of urinary system. It's time to learn about the anatomy of the reproductive system.